like, share, subscribe. I'm gonna forget to tell you later.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, and I was going through my videos, and I found this clip that I had recorded, but no, I didn't ever put any sound over it. So I thought, well, I'll tell this story over top of this clip, then I can delete it all from the phone and be free of it. So, anyways, I was. This is probably 2005. 2004, 2005. It was winter time, and I was sent out. I was hauling. I think I was hauling produced water, but it was like an emergency thing. Like they said, "Oh, you got to get out there," and it was out in the Milligan Creek area, like back in. I can't remember, Silver maybe it was the name of the field, but anyways, so what had happened was they were like their tanks were all getting overfilled, so I had to go out there and I worked 30 hours straight emptying these tanks. And on my way home, it was like so I was there more than a day, and it was just like I just had my all my chains on and body job, and I was just like, or I guess I should explain. Body job meant I didn't have a trailer. I just had the tank truck, and I didn't have my pup. So I was just like back and forth to this battery, dumping off all of this produced water as these tanks were filling up. And then I finally got them down to an acceptable level. And I called the dispatch and I said, can you guys get me a room at the camp? Like I'm really tired. And they were like, no, we can't get you a room there. And I just had a single cab, so I couldn't I couldn't sleep in it. And so then I was like, well, I guess I got to drive home. And I was beat. And before anybody starts in on me, I know it's up to me to refuse the work, but I just wanted to get home. So I just like, oh, whatever. So I started driving. And as I was coming into the corner by the Doig River, like you turn off to go to the Doig River Reserve, um, I realized all of a sudden it was ice. So I started sliding a little bit. And then I saw a propane truck coming the other way. And then as I was coming into the corner, my trailer slid out into his lane and clipped the back of his propane truck. And now you can understand probably how frightened I was, like when I realized that my trailer was sliding and there was nothing I could do. Like it was just heading for this propane truck. And so it clipped the back of his truck. It blew his back tire. His trailer cut a slash in my trailer. Or no, he didn't have a trailer. The back of his truck. I think it was his signal lights. There was like a steel thing around the outside of his lights. And then it cut a pretty good gash in the tank. I was empty. And then, yeah, so it blew his tire, like did something to his rim. And so we got all pulled off. And then as we got pulled over, then the plow truck went by with the sand and sanded the corner. But we pulled off, exchanged information. There was very limited service, so I got a hold of my dispatch, told them what had happened. My truck was still able to run. He had to call and get a tire, or maybe he just ran on a single. I can't remember what happened. But anyways, like everything was done. And then so my boss phoned his boss and said, like, we'll just take care of repairing your truck, and sorry this all happened. And I admitted fault. I didn't say why. I didn't say I had worked 30 hours or anything. I had just said, yes, like my trailer slid out. Everybody says, oh, don't, never admit fault, but it was my fault. I didn't realize that the corner was ice, and if I had have been well rested, maybe I would have. I can't say that for sure, but either way, it was my trailer. It went across the yellow line. It wasn't this guy's fault. Later on, I wish I had have said it was his fault, but we'll get to that. So, like my adrenaline was pretty high at the time because I was, expecting this explosion or something to happen. And the guy, he was like, okay, I will see you later. And that was in, I don't know, like January, I guess, or something like that. And then, so I didn't think anything of it. I went in, like the bosses, the manager called me into his office and he said, "You want to explain what happened?" So I threw my TAC card, which is a card that it's like before these electronic logs, it was like a round card you put into this printer thing, and it kind of showed your speeds and where you stopped, like if you were idling and all that. And it was good for 24 hours. Well, because I was out for 30 hours, it had gone all the way around and then another 6 hours. So I just tossed the TAC card on his desk and I said, well, that could be the reason right there. And then he said, well, you shouldn't have worked that many hours. And I said, yeah, no, I realize I shouldn't have. But I said, when I called in to ask who was coming out to replace me, I was told there was nobody that could come out and I needed to stay. Well, I guess that wasn't long enough. Anyways, so I'll start over again for the video. But anyways, I was told I needed to stay out there and because these tanks were going to overflow if I didn't get the fluids off. And because it was so gross out there, because even though it was like the pavement was ice, the dirt roads were mud, like a frozen kind of mud. It just wasn't good. So I couldn't use my trailer. Nobody else could get in there because I just had a tandem truck, so I was able to just throw a couple sets of chains on and get around in there. But anyways, so I told him that, and he said, well, you should have told dispatch that you refused. And I said, oh yeah, how would that have gone? Because it was well known at the time, and probably still is, that if you refused to do something, like say I did that and it cost the oil company, whatever, $200,000 because they had to shut down their entire system for this, I would never have got another day's work. Like, that's just how it is. There was back then anyhow. Like, you didn't do that. And I also didn't want to cause that. Like, I just wanted to get a room in the camp, like just so I could go and, get some sleep and then get up later and go back to work or whatever. But they wouldn't get me that. So they didn't want to pay the $200. It ended up costing them a lot more to fix the propane truck, and then my truck, I forget what it was, probably $2,500 to fix the rip in my tank. The propane truck, I have no clue. Like, it was a shiny aluminum rim and a tire, and there was like a broken tail light assembly, stuff like that. Anyways, it did not work out in their favor. The craziest thing was that in, I think it was April or May of that year, I got a phone call from the RCMP office in Fort St. John. They were charging me with failure to yield right from that accident. It turns out that even after the bosses discussed everything, the driver went and called the police and reported the accident to the RCMP. I really don't know why, so I ended up getting a charge of failure to yield right several months after the accident. And the police were saying, well, did you not? And I said, yeah, like it was $108 fine or something like that. I said, yes, I said, if that's the charge, like I said, I don't know what the other options are, but I said, that seems to be a pretty minor charge, so I will accept that. So they drove the ticket out to hand me at my house. Like, I just couldn't believe that after everything was all said and done, he went and, like, he didn't even have enough service to make a phone call. So then by the time he got home, he must have been like, well, now I got to phone the police and report that guy. Like, just my luck.